Welcome to the Nerd Party.
I'm Darren Moser,
I'm Philip Gilfus.
I'm Daniel Prue.
and this is City Alpha 3. Hello, and welcome to City Alpha 3, a Star Trek podcast here on the Nerd Party Network. I'm Darren Moser, joined by my fellow Strandies, Philip Gilfus and Daniel Prue. Gentlemen, Philip, how's that rewatch going on Voyager? How's our points?
And actually, I've been talking about it. I actually sat down and started doing it. So I think I'm 4 episodes in, 5, which I know doesn't sound like a lot, but I've begun, and that's what you got to be optimistic about. So, it is surprising, in the categories we established for listeners who may not remember, we did sort of a Voyager fantasy draft, and I'm sort of doing these arbitrary points based on these things I made up of either pluses or minuses. But it is interesting when looking at these categories, it does make you look at the episode harder, obviously. Like, for instance, what's it called? Elogium? The one where Kes gets,
Sticky fingers.
going to be pregnant. Yeah. And so I thought, well, Kes, because one of the points is main character of the episode, which you think would be Kes, but it's really Neelix and Kes. I mean, they're basically both. It's almost more
Right.
Neelix than Kes, honestly, if you look at like screen time and conflict and all that. So it's little things like that. But yeah, it's sort of makes you pay attention to the episode in a different way. Of course, what fantasy sports is all about. They just want you to watch all of sports ball instead of watching your favorite team. So, but anyway, so it's actually going well. I sort of have to do sort of like blobs at one time instead of just 1 or 2. So, but yeah, it's going well. At this rate, I'll be done by Christmas or something. I don't know. Who knows?
Christmas 2019. Heard it here. And Daniel, what about you? Started any rewatches or just popped in Star Trek 5 because you hate yourself? Who knows?
No, I believe after our episode last week, I watched The Drumhead randomly.
Ooh,
And
that's a good one.
yeah, that was great. It was fantastic.
And that's how I was flipping it around. Is it as good as you remember?
Oh man,
There you go. That's a good point.
Because it's one of the things where I think of it as having a good message and seem very timeless, but then like for all I know, I'll watch it and be like, oh, I had a lot of plot holes or something. I don't know.
yeah, it didn't.
When the first link on the chain is forged, by
He's a Romulan.
irrevocably.
Romulan spy.
Now, to be fair, I did stay up later than probably I should have.
So everything seems good at that point.
But honestly, no. It really, I think, does stand the test of time. I mean, like, it's even better than you remember. Like, every time you watch it, and without saying too much, but regarding the current situation that the world is in right now, that sort of message resonates really strongly, and it really is just like, that's the Star Trek. I think that in particular, the three of us, we love the
Picard Riker 2020.
Yeah.
Get that.
Hey, I'm looking at my Picard Riker 96 sticker I have right here on my wall. So
yeah.
Like, they haven't won any time yet, so they could win in the future. They haven't expired yet. So.
Man, that'd be a hell of a ticket. But since then,
would you really want Riker though? I mean, Picard, I get.
Well, yeah, because Riker is the one that you send on the dangerous away missions to the UN. In case anything happens to Picard, he's an older gentleman. You've got somebody that's younger, taken under his wing. Yeah, I could see him.
Which is, anyway.
I mean, to be fair, Riker is a great CO, so he could be a great VP.
Yeah.
Well, I was just thinking
worst case,
that
if somehow Picard, passes, I would want Riker to take the next step. And just sit down in the Oval Office. Just sit down, Riker.
We offered you, governorship,
Your own
of
country,
Minnesota.
and you wouldn't even take it.
Well, I could like that. It's not in the modern era, but in American history, we've had vice presidents who've been vice presidents of different presidents, and so Riker's just vice president for like 16 years in a row. We're like, why don't you ever run for your own? You're just gonna
He's like, I'm just waiting for him to die. That's an easy ticket.
I want to be president of this one. No,
Sometimes, wait. Now I'm imagining the White House E or something.
So
The big W.
but unfortunately after that, unfortunately or fortunately,
You fell asleep. No.
well,
Oh,
right
what comes
after
on?
that I definitely fell asleep.
Uh-huh.
But for the past week, my life, like a lot of people, I think, has been consumed by, I think you could, I mean, as Star Trek fans, we'll place it in that context. It's a fistful of data's simulator. Yeah, the new biggest video game out right now is Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, yes.
Yes, it's a Western game, which...
Oh, now I want to see the Fistful of Data's mod on that, where everybody looks like Data.
Everybody's just replaced by Brent Spiner. Yeah,
Man, get on that. We need that.
Yeah, so that's what I've been up to after Drumhead. But yeah, excited.
Are you enjoying it? So, I'll probably never touch it. Are you enjoying it?
Very quick, short review. It's good, very good, but it's very slow, which I think will put a lot of people off of it. Lots of traveling around on your horse and just traveling.
Now, have you tried pressing the shift key while riding?
Well, you can run in the game, but there's a big run meter, so you can only run for so long.
Yeah, I was watching someone on Twitch play it, and they it's the part where they break someone out of jail and then basically shoot up the entire town. And I'm like, okay, that's cool, like in a movie, but I'm thinking repercussions here. Wouldn't you then have every single law enforcement person on you? You literally just killed dozens of people.
It's the
how are you not
Wild
public
West,
enemy
Darren.
number one?
Yes, the legal enforcement is somewhat
But there
different
have to be some
in their time.
repercussions doing that.
It depends. Yes, there are. There are usually repercussions. You can't just go killing everybody. But anyways, it's good. It's good. But
Okay.
But yes, I like as a Fistful of Data simulator. That makes it even better. Well, today we've cracked over into triple digits now that we've had our 100th episode of City Alpha 3. So in the timely fashion that we always come up with our topics, right? Since this is episode 101, I wanted to talk about getting into Star Trek, kind of a Star Trek 101, and the way I wanted to phrase it, because we've done episodes before where we talked about, what are the best episodes to watch? Just best in general. Or what, we've even talked about what is the best single episode to start someone off on. So I wanted to go a little farther than that, and I'm kind of picturing it as you have a longtime friend, maybe from college, who just never got into Star Trek. They scoffed at you when you were wearing your comm badge around the quad. I don't know exactly how it went for you, but now they're kind of interested. They're like, oh, I've heard there's this Discovery thing, and what is this whole Star Trek thing about? And you say, okay, well, meet me at this lunch place and clear
I'll
your
be wearing
schedule.
a comm badge.
Yeah, clear your day, how much time you got. But no, I was thinking, framing it like that, introducing someone who's knows a little bit of the pop culture of Star Trek and knows William Shatner was in it, and maybe they know Patrick Stewart, but they really have no idea.
Someone who knows Patrick Stewart?
Knows of Patrick Stewart.
Okay.
That was the bald guy from X-Men, right? Yeah. That's probably how they'd put it. But no, so how you would introduce and explain the bigger picture of Star Trek to a new person in a way of getting them interested, but also in a way of maybe tailoring and trying to discover which series would be best for them.
Well, the sort of astronauts on some sort of Star Trek.
And then it could follow up with, some homework assignment for the person of what episodes to give a start. So we can definitely have some episode talk, but a little bit before we started recording, Philip, you had a good point of, maybe we could do a general overview of all the series, maybe to if you like political thrillers, or if you like ships named Enterprise that are going to a new planet every week, because obviously we don't have a person to actually answer these questions, as a representative, but I think we can kind of figure it out.
I was thinking, and tell me if I'm derailing, I was just thinking about this, like a couple hours ago before we talked, but I knew the topic. Whereas, imagining if you were, and this may have happened to y'all, but, imagining if you're, younger, 11, 12, 13, 14, and your parent was like, here's TOS, this is what I really love, I think it's awesome, watch it, and you're just going to be like, looks old. Like, I mean, that would be, because I'm imagining now, like if I had a child or something, showing them, I'm old enough to have a teenager, but showing them like, oh, Next Generation, I really love it, and like, it's dated. I'm not saying the stories are dated, but the look, some little things,
Right.
and so I wonder if that's always a turnoff. And I think like, well, you would maybe want to begin. I know we're not talking episodes, but like you would always, I guess, your instinct would be to begin with the most modern. Which personally, I could not do that. I would not be like, check out Discovery. It's, I mean, but that's, and I know that's just me.
Yeah.
But and so that'd be hard. I'm trying to think of how to do that.
Well, I think, yeah, you had a good point. One is, I think, just starting off with, let's kind of explain each of the series kind of in a conceptual way, because that's just well-rounded no matter which one they pick. But that's also a good point because it does matter, kind of how old you are and kind of where you are, what you might like more than others. Like, I mean, I'm comfortable showing Star Trek the Animated Series, to my kids. Yeah, because it's, it's animated, it's really tame, and I'll show select episodes of Next Gen.
And we can say
my
that
daughter.
to date.
Right, as of this time. But
tame and animated.
Yeah, it's the original animated series.
Would you love it that we then have to say the original
TOAS?
Animated series? Yes.
Oh gosh, TOAS.
Oh, this this literally could be named Star Trek the Animated Series, The Next Generation.
Oh, but that's not what they're naming it. They've already told us what they're naming.
What are they? What?
Oh, look.
It's Star Trek Lower Deck.
Oh no, I don't. I think that was just like to get the idea across. I think it's.
Oh. I was pretty sure that that's what it was called.
LDS.
But maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong too. I just thought it was far too early. I mean, they just announced the show.
It's just like it's going to be called the Picard series.
I think it was like Star Trek the Lower Decks Animated Series is kind of the impression I got. But
then I think Star Trek LDS is perfect. It works.
Maybe I misunderstood. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to tell because like I kept seeing different things like, this one. I mean, this website's saying it's called Star Trek: Lower Decks.
I mean, I'd love that name. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah.
But I just, well, maybe I'm mistaken then. That's great. That's fantastic. I'm very surprised that they've already announced the name.
But, well, I think because if you don't, because that was part of it, it was like quantifying it. What are you going to be getting out of this besides the Picard show?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what it felt like. It just felt like, oh, we are doing this thing. Here's this thing we're doing. It's the Picard one, until we come up with an actual name.
I don't know why I'm picturing a variety series. Do 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 do.
Kermit.
Hi, I'm Jean-Luc Picard.
Yeah.
Do 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 do.
It's time to light the nacelles. It's time to separate. It's time to head over to Q.
We got Worf on the drums.
Other letters will learn. But oh man, now I need to see the entire Muppet intro with the Star Trek cast. I didn't know I needed it before now, but now I do.
Yeah, this episode's all about tea. Yeah, tea for terrible. Oh,
okay, so you're saying Worf is one of the Watlers?
No way. Who's got to be? Who?
Garrick.
No, we could totally pause for this. We need to figure out who are the.
I feel like we've done this before,
Q.
though. I think we've done.
No, we've never done Muppets.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure we haven't. Or no, actually, no. I think we have. Now that I think about it.
I mean, who would be the Kermit though? There's not that optimistic.
Was it DS9 that we put into?
Yeah, I think it might have been Deep Space Nine.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Okay, listeners, if you find that episode, contact us on the Nerd Party website.
Starfelt.
And let us know because we need to know. And we're not going to go through 100 episodes. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. Again.
But again, yes, we've already done that once. But okay, so let's just go through the series. We'll go by air date just because why not? So if
because why not? That's kind of the problem.
Because it's there.
No, I'm not saying that the person has to watch them in order. I'm just saying we're explaining them in that order.
No, I get it. I know.
So, okay, so does anyone have a specific series they want to do specifically? Or if not, I'll just start with TOS.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so TOS, so it's a, it's one of the great things about Star Trek is it is our future. It's supposed to be set hundreds of years, but from the Earth that we are in today. And so we've grown as a society. We've moved past many things, not all things, but one of the things that the show does great is it takes those issues that they were having in the 60s and some that we're still having today and kind of use science fiction to put that as a lens up in front of you, whether it be racial tensions, whether it be women in the workplace, whether it be salt monsters. I mean, that's not really today an issue, but back in the 60s.
Salt monsters were all over the place.
Oh, man, they were everywhere. But so it has the intrepid crew of the USS Enterprise.
Constitution
which
crew.
is you know what I mean. And they basically travel from planet to planet. So it's what's called episodic. So every week they kind of go to a new planet, sometimes maybe over 2 episodes, but usually a new place, new time. And they just have these adventures, and sometimes they're trying to battle, fantastical foes, and sometimes, a lot of it revolves around the trio, the main 3. You have Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, which are the science officer, Spock, who's a alien, and you have the half alien. Yeah. Stop nitpicking. And then you have the dry wit doctor, and you have the intrepid Constitution class captain, Kirk, and it's just really about these 3 and their friendship and their story, and it's a great start to just what Star Trek was and what would all come after.
And I think for someone you're trying to sell, you always have to figure out what are they watching now,
right?
And I think this is for someone
like a comparison.
Yeah, and I think for some people who maybe are more likely to watch. Not sitcom. Well, I'd say sitcoms. In other words, they're more likely to watch network TV, and they don't watch a lot of like deep story. They if they like procedurals.
This is more like Friends versus like Blue Bloods.
Well, yeah, I mean, even Blue Bloods in a way. I mean, even though, but like it's like a Law and Order or a doctor show or because I don't watch TV or modern TV. But anyway, so it's if you're looking for deep storylines or over time, not going to be it. But if you're like just sitting down, vegging a little bit, maybe getting a good lesson, getting entertained. I mean, that's TOS. There's a lot of good stuff. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to belittle it. But, it's going to be in and out. We did our 45 minutes. Well, probably 50 minutes because there's no commercial, or the commercials were much shorter back then. But anyway. And then also, are they someone who's a forgiving type? So like for instance, with Darren, like a Babylon 5, is the CGI going to bother you, or can you pay attention to what the story is, right?
Can you look past that? Can you look past the fact that it's in the 60s
and the styrofoam and the costume monsters?
Watching if you watched, okay, so then that's another thing I'd recommend that they watch the remastered version, because they do update the effects, and that does help to an extent. But they do it so in a way that stays true to the original. Yeah,
it's going to be cleaned up a little bit, so it's going to be literally easier to watch.
And the fact that they're not they can watch it in HD, they can watch it with really good, clean effects. I think that will help. Versus like you said, if someone were to start watching Babylon 5, there is no HD version available. Yeah,
and I think it is because I doubt there's someone who exists who doesn't know what Star Trek TOS is. Or the what it is, so they know something. They know Spock and Scotty and blah blah blah. But I think they're gonna watch it and you'll be like so a little bit. But I think when you pay attention, you'll notice a lot of things that you haven't heard before, you haven't seen before. There's gonna be a lot of subtle stuff, and so
right. Yeah, that's true. Maybe try to look past your not judgments, but like your preconceived notions. Because, like that Kirk is a womanizer who sleeps with everybody. It's like, that's actually not quite the case. Or, that, all these stereotypical roles are really, just watch it for what it is and absorb it. What are your thoughts, Daniel?
Yeah, I would be reluctant to recommend TOS to specifically a new listener, almost certainly. Because I, as a Star Trek fan, struggle sometimes with my love for TOS. I definitely appreciate it for what it is, and
it's definitely my least seen series.
Yeah, I would never.
Me personally,
I can't imagine saying, "You want to get into Star Trek? Start with TOS." To anybody at all.
Any modern person.
Yeah, any
okay.
person that's like not 75 years
I
old.
think I'd agree. I don't think I would start them with that. Maybe an episode or two if it was like a really good one, like embodiment of Star Trek. But
No, there's. I mean, there's.
not.
And don't get me wrong. There's awesome, amazing stuff there. It's just too tough to overcome that 30, 40, 50-year gap, depending on what else you're watching, of television progression. It's just too much, and it's difficult to take seriously, even on its own. It's Philip mentioned, kind of alluded to, it's a little bit too long for its own good. The pacing's a little weird compared to how we're used to watching television now, and there's nothing that continues the story. It doesn't motivate anybody to continue watching. All of these things are just different things that television does now, but you don't want to take someone who's used to today's television and throw them into a completely alien world. So I unless it was somebody who just loved classic television, like that
it's
was
called retro
television. I would.
No, that's a really good point.
I don't think I would ever recommend TOS, especially for their first thing to get into.
Yeah, it does remind me a little bit of Doctor Who. Like, you
Yeah,
know,
I
if
was
I'm
just gonna ask you, Philip. Like, would you start someone new on the first Doctor?
I hope not. I hope not.
Like, who had never seen Doctor Who, and they're like, I really want to get into this.
Yeah,
so their
no.
first taste, you're gonna say, here, watch the first Doctor.
Well, no, it's black and white, and that turns a lot of people off. So, but yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm going to start the new Who era, and so I mean, that could be the Star
Look,
Trek argument.
just because he's white on the right side doesn't mean you can't watch
No,
that episode.
Yeah, they're all white all over back then. And so, but yeah, I mean, I think with Doctor Who, I'd always start with New Who, and same thing with Star Trek, presumably, and we can debate where you would start, but then it's sort of if they're enjoying wherever you start them. Like, I mean, okay, I mean, I know this isn't Doctor Who, but I'll just go. So, like, Doctor Who, I'd always start with I would always suggest, and I've been talking with friend of the podcast, Shar, because she's getting into Doctor Who a little bit, and I was debating with her, she could either start with 11, which is or if you really wanted to start hardcore new, you can start with 9 in New Who, and either one's fine, depends how you want to do it. But then, of course, if someone really, really loves it, and like, you know what? Dip your toe in some classic Who. Let's start with some 4 because he's the most
Do some
known.
4.
Yeah. And and as I've gone through it, I like it all for the most part. Not a fan of 6, but anyway, the same thing with Star Trek. So wherever you start them off, if they're enjoying whatever they're doing, you're like, okay, you want to see where it all began, and then since they're already part of the universe, then it'll be that much more of an appreciation for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good analogy because I did start with number 9, with Dr. 9, who even like you mentioned it, like I would be reluctant to recommend someone start at 11 over 10 just because 10 is such a big deal. But
no, I'm kidding.
But even then, it is tough to go back. So no matter where you start someone, like I loved when I was big into Doctor Who for a few years. I kind of fell off the wagon since, but I was really big into it. And then every time I tried to go back, I felt the same sort of struggles and sort of resistance to do that, even that I did with Star Trek, where it's just like, it's cool in that retro sense, but it's not entertaining from minute to minute. So it's really tough to stick with it. You know what I mean? So it's tough, I think, for a lot of people to go that far back in entertainment.
And I think the interesting thing about Star Trek over Who is that someone can start with a series or pick a series and just be a fan of that series, and that can work with them. It's not like, I mean, you could do that with Doctor Who, but still be like, well, I'm only a fan of like 10 and I haven't seen any 9, 12, and we're like, well, that's weird, but okay. But whereas if you're like, I'm just into Deep Space Nine, you're like, okay, I mean, fair enough. Because the series are so separate enough. I mean, of course, we in our fandom put them all together in one big universe, but like you can spread it apart and be fine.
And it's interesting too, Darren, because like I know they're different origins. One's on TV and one's in the movies. But if you were to have this conversation about Star Wars, it's super easy.
Right.
Your conversation's over before you even start. How do I
start?
OT.
You start with A New Hope.
And then there you go. It's so much easier.
It's not an option.
Yeah. So this is tough when you have this much content.
Well, it's interesting. I was just thinking. I have a friend on Instagram named Jeremy Fisher, who's like a stop motion animator, and he was working on a K2SO around the same time I was, which is how we found each other.
So was
And
he?
he's
Was it like
recently-
U.S. versus Russia? Who would get there first?
He had those fancy treadmills, and I just had to use my.
You had the
bear
go-to
skins and
spirit.
knives.
He was first around the orbit, but you knew you'd
He's
be.
an American. He's not a Russian. He's an American, just like me.
Oh, is he? Is he?
But anyway, well, he made a cool Rancor costume. That's been pretty awesome. But anyway, he just started watching Next Gen for the first time, and he's working through season 1. He's just
And there's his mistake.
Well, but he said he's actually. I think I think he has the right mindset to just kind of take it for what it is, and he's enjoying it a lot. And I told him, I reached out to him, said, "Hey, any questions you have, or any, I gave him links to our podcasts and said, like, we got a couple 100 hours if you have any questions." But no, all that to say, let's shift to Next Gen, and yeah, I think. Would you guys say that Next Gen is kind of the same as New Who, where it's not the most recent, but it gets you into that 90s era of, Next Gen, DS9, Voyager, where yes, they're all slightly different, but they are much more, they're closer to each other than they are apart. And would we, I mean, I know we're all highly biased towards Next Gen, but would that be a better starting point? Or maybe are we going to go farther and say maybe DS9 is a good starting point? I mean, the starting point isn't exactly the question I'm trying to answer, but it will come up, I know.
Yeah, to me, and this, I mean, I'm trying to be fair to myself, because obviously we all love Next Gen, but I'm trying to be fair because, again, be honest, Next Gen is old. It is very old at this. I mean, not very old, but it's old enough. I mean, I meet kids who were nowhere near born by the time Next Generation was done and over
I think
with.
if they could get into it and connect with a character, then that would make it way easier to stay through the entire thing. Like Data. If they fell in love with Data, like we all like Data. Always choose Data, I know now. But and then, but without that, it is a little dated.
And dated. But I think, and again, this is going to be my bias and prejudice, large parts of it are timeless. I mean, the look, to me, and again, maybe it's my whatever, looks timeless. Again, 1 and 2, just the look itself is a little dated. But past that, things, it looks like it could be done today, especially with the Blu-rays and all that. Now, of course, again, as Daniel, I'm not to steal what you're going to say now, but like the stories are obviously episodic. It's not blah, 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 blah. Not great developed characters, if you're a woman, probably, and so there's, to be, if we're going to be frank, there are some minuses. But if you're just learning Star Trek, and again, it's my bias, I think Next Gen is the best because to get that sort of general Trekness, because DS9 I think is its own thing, and neither good nor bad. But it's sort of its own thing. And I don't know, and maybe Voyager and Enterprise are general Trek in some ways. But anyway, I think general Trek, this is your first dip into the universe. Try some Next Gen. I'll give you some random episodes, and then you see where you want to go from there.
So you're basically saying it would kind of be an equivalent to starting someone on 9 with Doctor Who.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's older than that. Maybe this is like 80s Who or something. Well, 80s Who wasn't great.
Oh, so this is like the movie, starting with the movie.
No, the 80s would have been 6 and 7.
8 is the movie.
Yeah, but it'd be like 6 and 7, 80s Who, which is early 80s Who.
Right. What are your thoughts, Daniel?
This is the problem I knew we were going to run into talking about this. Yeah, it's there's too many caveats.
Look, at least it's not another list show, Daniel,
I know, but it's too tough. It's too muddy.
It's your baby.
It's too hard. How do you do this? Okay, let's just say that we, just for sake of argument, we all decided TNG was the way to go. Okay, where do you start them in TNG? I think we'd all probably say you could probably skip season 1, but you can't skip all of season 2 because season 2 has things like Measure of a Man. Okay.
You could. No, I think you could. Well, go ahead. I'm not interrupting you.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if it depends on, it's so, and I even would say the same thing about Deep Space Nine. Season 1, not necessarily necessary, but I don't know. And this is why it's tough. Like, I even have trouble, like, when I'm talking to people about The Office, and I'm like, you've never seen The Office? I watch The Office, like, every year. But you could skip season 1 of The Office. You
Yeah.
probably
Because they were just doing the repeats of the British. Yeah.
exactly, and it was only 6 episodes, and they were all kind of not great, but
They weren't quite into their characters yet.
right. But is
Like season 1, Michael is very different
yes,
than all
he's
the rest.
biggest difference, on that show. But if you love The Office, you would never skip season 1, not for 1 second. And it's the same thing with Star Trek. If say we introduce somebody to Star Trek, I don't know. Do you have to go through those growing pains? Is that the best way to know those characters, to love those characters?
But it's real.
Well,
You have
I mean,
to
and again,
experience it.
sorry to fall back on this again, but when I started Classic Who, like my Classic Who watch for the first time,
Look, why don't you just start a Doctor Who
I know.
podcast, Philip? If you want to just talk about
We're
Doctor
talking
Who all
about
the
them
time.
enough.
I started for me, and I'm like, well, I'm going to start with 4 because I'm vaguely aware of him. You know, he's sort of the infamous Doctor, and so I watched 4, 5, 6. I think that's how I did this: 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I was like, well, let me go back and start 1, and then 2, and then I've actually never finished 3, so I still need to get something. But
So,
yeah, so
So what you're kind of saying is have something that kind of eases them in,
yeah,
and then from there you can choose to go back to TOS.
I don't think it hurts.
But you're not
something like a well-paced, enjoyable action movie that might really get them into the characters and the universe. Something like that. Is that what you're suggesting?
Are you trying to pimp 2009?
I have an idea for what might actually be the perfect. And
So you're saying go back to 2009 before you go to
Anything
TOS?
else?
I think it's
Actually, it's not a bad idea.
I think it's literally the easiest thing to get into. It's the easiest thing to watch. It's the most entertaining. I think it's okay. I think it's in terms of pure popcorn, pure like simple enjoyment. But with also has sort of elements that tie back to what makes Star Trek great.
So would you say watch 2009 and then watch First Contact as kind of
There
your
you
first
go.
dip?
That could be a good way to go.
And then choose to go to the one that grabs you the most.
Yeah, sure.
Now,
I mean,
is
it's
first,
kind of a crazy idea, but it actually could work.
is First Contact.
Okay, well, I'll say why I chose First Contact. I didn't choose Generations.
Oh no,
'cause
obviously,
it's-
no. You don't have to
I
explain.
mean,
Yeah,
obviously,
that's fine.
Yes. And well, just really of the next gen.
Yeah, no,
it's
obviously,
the-
yeah.
Here we go. Here's it.
Why am I even explaining?
No,
this?
the only reason I'm thinking, and again, I'm trying to be fair, is First Contact so good because it's good on its own? And the answer may be yes, or because it's just the best next gen.
Here's
You know
the
what I'm
thing.
saying?
Here's the thing.
Well,
I have a perfect path into this.
Mhm.
You make them watch 2009.
You make them watch.
You sit them down. So they enjoyed 2009.
Clockwork Orange style. Keep their eyes open.
It's on Prime.
You say, here, watch 2009. They have a good time watching 2009. It's fun. It's
Presumably.
cool. It's quick, and it's easy to digest. Then you make them watch Undiscovered Country because it's the same characters, on the
Right.
same ship, and then you watch them watch the good bits of Generations. Then you move into First Contact.
Whoa. Do you have some fan clip version of Generations?
Well, no, but you
talking about like
Are you like, okay, I'm going to fast forward through this part. Just get some, go get a drink. I'm going to
I guess you use Generations as a gateway, and then you could do First Contact from there. That way, they get
Interesting.
two separate
Interesting.
crews, and they would have now the option to go into TOS or TNG, and it was easy. It was 2.5 movies, and you're good to go.
actually not that bad of an
Movieverse,
idea.
yeah.
Like actually using Generations passing of the torch, which we've all said happened after Next Gen, which had already passed the torch. But for a new person who hasn't experienced that, it's actually it's not a bad idea. So like maybe 4 movies, have them do 2009 for Undiscovered Country, Generations, and then like First Contact to like cement it.
Yep.
And then from there they can split off into the TV show they want.
And I don't.
And be like, and see, like if you were more of a Generations person, you could start with Next Gen. If you were more a First Contact person, maybe start with DS9.
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to imagine.
And then show them the DS9 movie, and then they can choose if they want. Oh, sorry.
Don't worry, the HD and
awkward.
okay, that's good. But like, I don't know if they're kind of like me, and it's at night. I tend not to be like, I'm going to start a TV series. I'm like, no, movie. What do you got? Boom. And so if you give them sort of like here's a Star Trek movie list. I'll give you 3 or 4. You tell me what pops out. What do you like? What's talking to you? And then we'll go from there.
Now, Daniel, would you say do 2009 and then Undiscovered Country, or 2009 and then
Beyond.
Wrath of Khan?
You could do Wrath of Khan, but
Here's my thought. Just because, not that the Undiscovered Country is not good, but I feel it has more depth if you've actually seen all of TOS or more, or at least more of the movies. It works as a great movie number 6 because it deals with a lot of like, we're growing older or how we're transitioning. And if you haven't seen any of that, that's my thought of, or drop them in with Wrath of Khan, where it's more of them in their prime and it's the big spectacle on the film.
What about Star Trek 4? It's a laugh out loud comedy.
Well, see, but Star Trek 4, I mean, it takes place mostly on Earth of the past. It's not really the most indicative of Star Trek.
Well, the only reason I picked 6 was because it's a great send off. It's great to see them. I mean,
that's true. I mean, in your transition idea, I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I was just wondering why not 2.
Yeah, no, I would pick, because I would pick 6 over 2 because it's a better, like, okay, if you're starting with their beginning journey or a version of it, whatever, then you end with their ending journey, right? And you get to see the contrast. I think that would be a great difference between like Kirk and Spock in the beginning and then Kirk and Spock at the very end of this awesome friendship that they've had, that sort of stuff.
And if you watch 2, you have to watch 3.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really not watch 3.
And then you're going to be like, no, I know you saw 3 and you think I'm tricking you. Watch 4 now.
Yeah, it's like, imagine if you watched...
And then you basically showed them all of Star Trek.
Full of you. And you're like, what about 5? You're like, they never made a 5. They just went,
imagine if you watched...
It's an anomaly. It's a myth.
It's like 13 floor in the elevator.
If you watched Star Trek 2009 and then you watched Wrath of
2,
Khan,
3, 4, yeah.
you'd be like, Spock died? Like, what the hell? Like, what is going on? Yeah, you'd be
right.
And it's easier to transition. That was my main reason. It's easier to transition into TNG.
No, that makes sense. 6 makes more sense if the next one is going to be Generations, because they're wearing the same uniforms. You could see that. They go off into the sunset, and then you're like, oh, now we're on. And also, it's weird. This is giving me a lot more appreciation for Generations as an intro concept, which I'd never really thought about it like that. But the fact that you could actually use it as that bridge, you're explaining some Star Trek history. If they've never watched Next Gen, yes, you have the destruction of the D, which is a little bit forward knowledge, but the fact that you have the Enterprise B and you show, because you see the A in 6, and you could show someone, be like, oh, look, okay, so they have the original ship, and there's this lineage, and now we're in the 24th century, and then you could jump back into watching Next Gen.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I think, okay, so starting with the movies, I think is definitely the way we want to, which I did not expect that was how the conversation was going to go, but that's a great idea.
And then you show them Beyond, and then they're like, I'm looking and it says it was the 3rd movie. Didn't they make a second one? You're like, nope. They went 1 to 3.
Like the 5th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
weird. They only do odd movies. We don't.
It's like a 13th elevator floor. Did I not mention that before?
But well, you can't not love 4 and 2. But I know what you're talking about.
Well, the new one.
After the 21st century, there was this new kind of thing they did in filmmaking where they just went.
I'm thinking of the VHS set, the one that had like the Enterprise on the front with all of them, and it looks like this bashed up ship of nothing because you've taken out all the bad ones and shoved it together. It's like, what's wrong with the Enterprise? Oh no, it totally looks like that. It's supposed to look like that.
That's the Enterprise A. It's a remodel, refit. It's completely different.
It's an Enterprise asterisk because it has if we need to talk about it.
Yeah, you tell me if I'm going out of line here. I saw someone tweet now again, and you can see anything on Twitter, I know. But someone was like, hey, I just finished Enterprise, and it's better than Next Gen. And I'm like, well, you're wrong, one thing. But two, but two, and I'm like, someone got into Enterprise, and they got in.
No, just tell them, you've watched 4 seasons, so now watch season 5, 6, and 7 of Next Gen.
And the movie.
And you're good. Yeah. And the movie.
Yeah. But so because I was thinking with Voyager, and like when you said Star Trek 6, Daniel, I thought a good reason was because it's a more quote unquote modern movie than 2. Yeah. And again, do we like
a mystery? It's good. It's a good movie,
and just the look of it. I mean, to be fair, and because Star Trek 2, do we love it because as a standalone in the 21st century, it's a good movie, or is it because we're Star Trek fans and it works? And I mean, there's a little bit of both. But I think it's hard to find the like getting your Trekdom out of it. What just works for someone who's never seen this?
Wrath of Khan was the first like
good movie,
really big good movie of Star. Like it'll always have that title, so yeah, you gravitate towards it. But
yeah, it was good for a lot of reasons, but it's good. It's mostly good in hindsight due to its fact that it calls back to the original series and reaches forward into what we know of Star Trek now. We don't have Star Trek how it exists today without Wrath of Khan, and it's tough to see the franchise without it.
So we have kind of how we want to introduce them. Now we don't have to continue with all the descriptions, but how would you guys describe? Like we kind of already talked a little bit about Next Gen, and we've talked a lot about Next Gen already, just as the most kind of baseline of the Star Treks. It's got a little bit of everything. It is a little dated, but it's for the modern era versus the 60s, that's what started it. But then how would you guys go about with DS9? I mean, everybody says, oh, it's so long form story arc, but in the beginning it kind of wasn't. It kind of transitioned into that. Not that you want to drop them in the middle of the war. Maybe you do, but
again, season 4, War of Defiant, and then you can tell them they can go back.
No,
not a bad idea.
I don't
keep
like
the Worf thread.
I don't like that idea. I really don't.
But Daniel wants to make sure they get to enjoy
Move Along Home
as much as everybody else.
Hey, there's a lot of good stuff in season 1 as well.
There is
a lot of good stuff.
There's more good stuff in season 1 of Deep Space Nine than season 1 of TNG. I'll say that.
I think we have a challenge thrown down. Let's comparing DS season 1s.
I will say it's definitely easier to get into. Even though it's only a few years younger than TNG, it's for a modern person, somebody with modern TV sensibilities, I think it is an easier
the type of storytelling. And while you were right, Darren, it doesn't really lean into the serialization until probably season 3 or 4. There are elements throughout, like even from the very get-go, there are a lot of those elements. So I think for someone, especially now with Netflix or CBS All Access, if you have to pay for it, you can binge it very easily, and it's a very, very bingeable show. Whereas TNG, you can have one and feel like that's full. Good. I'm good with one for. You're full.
It's like it doesn't have that same sort of compelling feeling, and that's fine. Like. Different taste, that's fine, but certainly television now is much more let's continue what's going on in the storyline and that sort of stuff. So I think Deep Space Nine definitely benefits from that sort of writing.
So maybe if you give them a couple of other comparisons, like Battlestar Galactica, or more modern storytelling, be like, okay, if you like that, then this might be one that you want to kind of sink your teeth into. Give it a bit of time to establish the characters for you, but it will get where you want to go, because it does.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can frame it like that. Also,
and this is going to be a sort of I'm trying to remember the expression here. It's basically me saying a negative, but it sounds like a positive. It's the tone of modern TV, and y'all can disagree with me. I think DS9 is more dystopian than utopian, which is what TV and culture is now. And so I think it will fit in with the what's the tone of pop culture these days. And so
Battlestar Galactica wasn't exactly sunshine and rainbows all the time. So,
but of course, more. So
but of course, that was the I mean that because that's literally and figuratively a post 9/11 show. We're in 2018, judging by my calendar, and so I was like, can we stop with the dystopia? It's been 17 years. But anyway, but moving on.
Thank you, Orville. We've been missing you.
Better.
Yeah.
Well, anyway. Yeah. Okay, we got 3 more series to at least touch on. So, Voyager, we've always kind of, I mean, it's basically except for they're far from home and they're cut off from resources. It's kind of goes back to the next gen formula of Planet of the Week and and it's got that hook, which I think is a great hook, but it's very much more very much more next gen-ish than it is a depart from DS9. But as far as our new listener, would we want to say, or viewer, if you like Next Gen, this is another good one of kind of the same, but just a different set of characters? Or like, how would you guys kind of summarize Voyager, the journey?
Well, not to, what would be the word here? Anyway, I'll just say it. Not to be sexist, but it is the person I'm talking to a woman. I mean, because
that's a good point.
I mean, just as if, is this someone person of color, and not that we're saying, oh, you're black, so you're gonna go watch DS9, or you're a woman, you watch Voyager.
For them
but
off the bat.
Yeah. I mean, you want to, we all like to be represented, and so obviously for us white guys, it's very easy in Star Trek. But yeah, I mean, if you're, and because it's general Trek, I would say Voyager, just like Next Gen. Obviously, I think Next Gen has a lot of better stuff, but I mean,
also Discovery has a strong female lead,
but they'd have to have all access
series lead.
I mean, I'm being serious.
Well, yeah, it's true, but I mean, you could also watch all of Star Trek on All Access, so it's not a bad place to start them on.
Well, they would have to get the subscription, is what I'm saying. What I'm saying? Like, if they were trying to get them into Star Trek, and you need to pay, whereas first you have Netflix.
But aren't all the movies on All Access too?
The movies aren't actually.
Yeah, because that's Paramount, not CBS.
Oh, you're right. Can't they all just get along?
Well, there was that merger. There was that merger rumor for a long time.
I know. But that's a good point, though, Philip, about being the female-led show. Like, that is a good place. Again, I know this is kind of a hard discussion because we don't actually have our hypothetical person, which we would be basing all of this on. Mm-hmm. But I feel like we're doing a good job of generalizing it enough. But that's a good point. And not that, if you're not a woman, you're not going to enjoy Voyager. No. Like, there's great characters in Voyager. I would say its characterization is on par with any of the other series. It has its missteps like everything else, but I don't see someone watching Voyager and not finding one character that they don't latch on to. Probably the Doctor, maybe Seven, or Janeway or B'Elanna. I mean, there's so many.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I struggle. I mean,
Seska, man, that's where it's at.
I struggle with Voyager, so. And this is why this hypothetical conversation that we're having with this person is really difficult without knowing who they are. But I honestly can't imagine a scenario in which I would recommend Voyager. I mean,
and I'm not saying I kind of agree with you, like not in the beginning, but more as we've established Star Trek for them, and now depending on their direction, put that on the seconds.
Right, exactly. Like if they loved TNG and
they had their appetizer movies and they had their first course.
Yeah. No. There's definitely a section of people who just love Voyager, and that's totally fine. It's just like, it's not the thing that I would ever be like, this will get you into Star Trek. You know what I mean? Right. Unless you were there at the time. To me, and that's totally subjective. There's no reflective on quality. It's just like, it's not the thing that I'd be like, oh, this will get you into Star Trek. It's just not where I go for that. So it's.
But it would be interesting to show them the movies like you already showed, and then you're sort of sitting there. It's like, this is sort of like the second coffee time or lunch. You're like, okay, so you saw the three movies.
So they've seen the movies, and maybe they've seen a couple of episodes of Next Gen and DS9.
But like, these are your options for series. Like, where do you want to start? And you just sort of give them the pitch for each one, and you just see where they, which sounds.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and really, now that you've given them a good slice there, like for example, if they were like, oh, Voyager sounds interesting, then you could give them that Tuvok episode where the flashback one where he's
time
what's it called?
Escape.
No, I know you're talking when he's with Sulu. Flashback. Yes. It's literally called Flashback.
It's called Flashback.
Yeah.
So there you
What's
go.
that flashback one called?
So there's lots of little ins that you could definitely give someone, for each series. They all tie into it somehow. For Deep Space Nine, show them Trouble with Tribbles or whatever, show.
Oh yeah.
You could do anything really to
show them every Q episode ever.
That's true, and actually, that's not a bad idea of using Trouble with Tribbles to give them a taste of TOS, but in a very controlled way, where it's like, did you like those parts? Because that's what a lot of TOS is like,
Well, yeah.
Okay, so Voyager, that's definitely on that second conversation. Okay, what about Enterprise, guys? So Enterprise, it's very different. I mean, it's in the past. I'm not so much worried about when it is in the Star Trek timeline, because I don't think that's really a factor in what we're talking about. But as far as the show itself, I mean, it gets there. It's definitely one of those, like, if you've seen a lot of Star Trek and a lot of Star Trek, you'll get a lot of Star Trek out of it. But if not, I would say that's maybe like a third or fourth discussion.
No,
you
I
know,
mean,
series.
and I don't know. I mean, because again, we all have our biases, but like they will probably know Scott Bakula, if not from Quantum Leap, then maybe from NCIS New Orleans.
Or he was in Chuck.
Okay, yeah. I didn't know. Well, I mean, I didn't know he was in there. But anyway, yeah. So they're gonna know that, and I will say, Enterprise. You're talking about binging. I think Enterprise does binge better than it
That's
aired. I think that is true
Okay,
for
I
me.
can see that. I can see that.
So maybe like if you got a free weekend, binge season 3 of Enterprise or something.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. You can say that.
Okay.
No, Darren, you're not wrong. I would not. But like, if someone likes storytelling, one big season story.
Well, no, I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
saying season 3 because it has
right.
that, because that's the one with the sphere builders, right?
Yeah, with the war. I mean, it's
Yeah,
the whole.
Yeah.
the Zindi. That's the Zindi arc.
I'm not saying necessarily that they need to start with season 3,
Right.
but it is a very bingeable season.
And I will say that having watched it contemporaneously, if that's I'm saying that word correctly, I did not like it as much, and it's still not my favorite. But I think it binges better, and you can see, that does make I see what they were doing.
If you can sink your teeth into season 3 and it's something you like,
Yeah.
then I think they're more likely to be like, okay, well, let's watch season 1 and 4, and I mean, it doesn't take that long to watch all of Enterprise because there's only 4 seasons. So,
But isn't Enterprise, and this is me, you guys tell me if I'm wrong, isn't it such like a research test? Like, you watch all of Enterprise, and depending on what they like, can tell you what they would watch next. So like, I love season 3, like, DS9's yours. And you're like, I
really like season 4, like the mirror episodes. Like,
you're like, TOS
well, this
is
you'd
yours.
like this.
Yeah, and then like 1 or 2, like, well, TNG or Voyager probably is maybe yours. You know.
Man, I do love Enterprise, and it's really
okay.
interesting. It is, I think, though, to what we were talking about earlier. It's an easier pill to swallow for modern viewers, just in terms of style, in terms of.
It's still got the 90s style as far as storytelling is still there.
Yeah, character growth not great,
but it's way more current than 89.
Yeah, I mean, I will still argue to the end of the earth that Broken Bow is the best first episode of Star Trek. By far. Like, I don't think that anything even comes close to it. So,
if they can get past the intro song, then they're golden. Is what you're saying.
There you go. But it's, it's certainly not for everyone, and I do think that it does hold merit for people that are looking for something a little. Hey, like, this isn't letterboxed. We can watch this in widescreen. Like, this is HD. Oh man, I mean, I guess TNG is now, so I guess and TOS is too. But it is tough to get a lot out of Enterprise if you don't know Star Trek. So
I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, because I think, watching things with my wife, and she's not a diehard Trekker, but she enjoyed Enterprise. I mean, she's a casual watcher of things,
Sure,
and so
sure.
she was, and she enjoyed it. She liked Scott Bakula,
he's a handsome
This
man.
might be for another. This might be for another discussion, but I totally had forgotten about these. But before, just because the DVDs always cost so much, and before it was really on streaming, I got all of the Star Trek fan collectives.
Okay.
I don't know if you ever picked up those. So they have it's basically by type. So you have like a lot of Borg episodes, and
Like, is that literally what the disc is called? A lot of
A
Borg
lot of
episodes.
Borg.
Borg, yeah. There's Q, Borg, Klingon, time travel, Captain's Log, and alternate realities. Alternate realities is probably the most broad.
I would
and
love to
Captain's
show
Log-
people the Q, like all the Q episodes. Well, not all the Q episodes. I'm gonna take that back. Most of the Q episodes, like
I think it's missing 1 or 2.
like
but it's
Encounter
got
and Hide and
almost all
Q,
of
maybe
them.
not, but the rest.
Those are the first 2, but yeah. It's got Encounter, Hide and Q.
You have to have
Deja
Encounter,
Q,
though. You
Q,
can't
Q.
show Q off without
True
Encounter.
Q.
Yeah, I guess.
You could skip Hide and Q. That's fair.
It's skippable. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, this would be interesting to have another talk about, just because it's maybe because I've done that before too. With I had a friend who was into a Star Trek a little bit, but not a lot, and I would lend these to him. I'd be like, "Here, watch these ones." Like I had him watch some of the alternate realities ones, and those are things like In a Mirror, Mirror Mirror, and Frame of Mind, and Shattered, and Inner Light, and ones where like things are kind of different.
I'm not
This is
crazy.
one of my this is one of my favorite like sets. And I also love these because you got episodes from all the different series in it. But okay, so last little wrap up, Discovery. I will say this. I will say if you want to watch Discovery and you've done our you've watched the movies and you've kind of gotten into Star Trek, Discovery would be great to watch with a Trekkie who's watching it live. Like maybe go over to their house and enjoy it.
Not me.
Maybe
I'll just be like going, oh,
maybe
like, do you do this the whole time? Yes, I do. But anyway.
I mean, maybe I don't know. What do you guys think of? I mean, if you want to talk about the most modern of series,
I will go.
It's there.
Yes, I will talk about this because I do think this is important. I think personally, and us in general, have been a little tough on Discovery.
Philip, sorry, I sneezed right there.
No, I'll also accept responsibility for it.
No, yeah.
I do think I think I will forever disagree with their idea to make it another prequel.
It's too easy to say, "Oh, it's not my Star Trek,"
it is.
and not just give it a chance.
And I never want to be the old.
I've
man.
watched the whole season, guys. What more do you want from me?
We liked a good chunk of it. We enjoyed some of the characters. There was some.
Mira Lorca was great.
Actually, well, I just call him Lorca, but okay, yeah.
I loved Lorca in general.
Spoilers.
I loved Saru. I loved Tilly. I loved Stamets.
And the books have been really good too. I've enjoyed those as expanding on the characters.
And here's
I
the
like
thing.
Stamets. I like how he grew from being, annoying blank hole.
And here's the thing. Compare.
And Tilly, who doesn't love
I don't
Tilly?
like Tilly.
Tilly's great. You leave her alone.
Who matters that doesn't love Tilly?
But seriously, compare it. Compare this now. Season 1 of Discovery has been far, at least, more interesting. The twists and turns that they've taken than anything, in TNG for sure. Deep Space Nine, you could argue. Voyager, yeah. Enterprise, yeah. Like this could.
I mean, it's the full transition to the modern storytelling.
Yeah.
I mean, Enterprise wasn't even really there. DS9 late seasons is nowhere near what we're getting in season 1 of Discovery.
Yeah,
it's modern TV.
I feel
as modern as can be.
I feel like we've been too harsh on Discovery, and it's actually a really quality show, just trapped in the wrong place. If that makes any sort of sense.
Well, it's difficult because it's trying to be different and new, but it's still trying to be Star Trek, which in essence is not different and new. So
in a place that it doesn't make
it's
sense
hard.
for it to be different and new. Like it's not trying to be new Star Trek, which we kind of wanted it to be.
Yeah. Oh, like you're saying, like the Picard show could be different and new, but because of when it's set, is it because it's being set in the future, then it's easier for us to stomach. And I don't know,
when's the animated series being set? Because that will determine whether I hate it or not. No, I'm kidding. I don't.
That's a good question. I hope they jump around.
Jump around.
Oh, really? I was thinking that they could make it a TNG series, and all the episodes are set in the background of TNG episodes.
Right.
That would be interesting. Or
it's the cleanup ship.
The voice casts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Boy, this one.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know when it's going to be set, but I'm just hoping not. Well, I don't want TOS, and I don't think it's going to be TOS because that doesn't make sense. They've already done that.
Darren,
but
because you said it.
No, I would say go.
What
for
kind of crazy series
or...
would be set during TOS? Just kidding. 5 years before.
I would love it if they. I don't know if they would do this because it would be a little scattered, but I would love to see them jump around and be like, here's 3 episodes in Next Gen, and here's 2 episodes in Voyager, and here's 4 episodes in
No,
DS9.
this is the worst ship of the Federation, Darren. Ha, ha, ha.
Ensign Barkley, what are you doing here?
Yeah. Okay, well, I mean,
it'll be interesting to see.
With Discovery, I mean, I will say this, of course. Best representation you're going to get from any Star Trek series. Whether it's various people of color, I mean, not just African American, all kinds.
Robots.
Yeah, not gay characters. You're gonna get a lot more different things that are a little bit more. You get Tilly being her whatever she has. So you see things that people may see represented and reflected in and of themselves, I guess. So that's my pitch.
It's true. The representation is very strong,
Mhm.
and that's not a bad thing. So yeah, no, I think, and that's probably, like you said, our overall bias just from how we have grown up with Star Trek, that we wouldn't recommend Discovery as a brand new. Not that it isn't a good gateway, as I'm sure there's people who are watching it and then are like, oh, there's more of this Star Trek, and they're using it more as that second helping. But yeah, I think for us, it's hard to say start with this because it fully embodies what I'm wanting to impart to you, the new viewer.
Yeah, it could,
You know what I mean?
and I'm not going to go on a rant, but I'm just saying, when I'm trying to sell Star Trek to someone, I mean, I want to. Oh God, I'm trying to just avoid.
You just keep selling it and selling it.
I'm trying to avoid
Before you knew
words
what you
here.
had. You put it on a lunchbox.
No,
and
we
a crappy
listen. We
action
referenced
figure.
The Simpsons earlier,
Uh-huh.
and it very much reminds me of that famous Principal Skinner
Poochie?
line where he says, "Am I out of touch? No, it's actually the children who are wrong." Like, I never want to feel like the old guy that just clings to what he knows and doesn't accept new things. That doesn't feel very Star Trekian of me. So I
mean, fortunately, a lot of Star Trek. I mean, yes, some hasn't aged well, but there is still a lot of good, valuable content you can glean from Star Trek, and we're blessed for that because there are definitely shows out there where you go back and you rewatch, and you can tell, like, this show does not have a giant following that continues for 50 years because it just wasn't as good a show. And I'm not going to call anyone out, but just in general, that exists.
Well, I mean, I guess
right? Like,
the reason I'm pitching Star Trek is because of, I mean, for me, and this is Philip, it's because of the utopian vision and I don't get that from Discovery. It's entertaining, it's action packed, it's dramatic, not utopian. I mean, for me, I don't get any modern day.
It's a war story and it's a Federation story is really what it's about. It's about Starfleet.
But I can't think of any
fighting.
modern issues that Discovery is tackling. Really, I mean, maybe I'm blind. Maybe that's out there, and I just need to open my. I just don't see it, and so that's why it's hard for me to be like, pitch it. This is what you should be. And I'm like, okay. I mean, and that's why it'd be hard for me to sell people. But I guess, if someone is looking for something action packed and dramatic and relationship, then Discovery's for you.
And we've only seen its first series. I mean, if any of us can agree, it's the first series of a Star Trek series. It gets it started, but it's usually not the best series.
And usually
best
has
season.
1, not 3 showrunners over time. So.
well, no,
Yeah,
but
that's why,
imagine imagine if we did give it the benefit of the doubt. Imagine if it was the season 1 of TNG versus season 4 of TNG. Like,
Right.
Like, imagine if we see that growth. Like, that
Right.
is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think we are giving it the benefit of the doubt, though. I mean, the fact that we're watching it, we're going to watch season 2, and we are looking forward to seeing what they do. Some of us, not Philip.
I'm hoping for. I mean, this is. And I know people love it. This is me. I'm hoping there's kind of a reset. I don't think there is going to be, but that's sort of where I'm going with season 2.
Maybe with the uniforms, no.
Yeah.
Or the Klingon hair. That's what they're resetting.
I mean, they
Philip.
kind of are doing a soft reboot of their own show, really, in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
And oh my god, except for as soon as Pike leaves this damn show, you better give that ship to Saru, or I'm out of here.
Let's start a letter writing campaign, guys. That always works.
They gave you Spock,
Maybe-
Daniel, after you were going to get out of here.
That's
What more do you
true.
want?
You're right. You're
That's true.
absolutely right.
Yeah, you thought they were going to Luke Skywalker Spock at the end of the last episode.
I did.
Here you is, Spock.
So he doesn't have the
sorry,
same
he's not here right
beard,
now.
so it is kind of.
Yeah, something about beards, yeah. Although that has different connotations in Trek, so all the Trek have beards. But anyway, well, this was fun. This was a fun discussion. I think went through a lot of the things we like about Star Trek, but also hopefully, if listeners, if you're thinking of getting into Star Trek and for some reason chose episode 101 of our Star Trek podcast, which is a reason I wanted to do it for this one, because it's easy to remember so that I can reference it to someone and use this and say, hey, well, listen to our 101 episode. It's actually a good beginning of learning about Star Trek if you're interested. So Star Trek 2009, then Star Trek 6, the Undiscovered Country, Star Trek Generations, and Star Trek First Contact, and then come talk to us, and we will help guide you to the Trek of your dreams. And it's a great time to be a Trek fan. We got a lot of new content coming, which I think is we should not overlook. But Daniel, what are we going to be talking about next week? Episode 102. Is it going to be another series of academic? Like, is that how we're going now?
Yes, so we'll
Is
be
it the
talking about
102
the
class?
second episode of Star Trek that you should watch, and then I think
geez.
Philip will be
It's hard
covering
one.
the
Hard.
third episode.
And our ratings dropped substantially after that for some reason.
No. In fact, now I don't want to pump the brakes a little too early on this.
Is it time for Is It That Bad? Because that's how it's been for the last couple of
Well, it is going to
months.
be, but it might be the last one for a while. I haven't decided entirely yet, so I'm not going to go too far beyond next week. But for now, this might be maybe a little bit the last one until we have a brief break. But yes, we are going to be doing Is It That Bad? And it was both referenced this episode, and we talked about it last episode as well.
God.
So we are actually going to be covering one of the only other series that we haven't touched yet. We're going to be talking about Star Trek Into Darkness. And is it that bad? Sorry, guys. I'm giving you another movie.
Daniel.
Another movie for homework. I know. Sorry. But
I was trying to think about it. I'm like, is he talking about the animated series? What is he talking about?
we haven't touched.
I own it, but I don't watch it, Daniel.
You know, the sad part is
what are
I
you
think I've seen
doing?
this more almost. This is probably the most watched Star Trek movie, and it's bizarrely the most movie I've ever seen. So
I know. I'm surprised you've watched this more than Beyond.
yeah, I've seen
but-
Beyond once.
I know
Darkness
you're afraid
is probably
of Beyond.
like 7
like,
times.
You're afraid
at this
it'll
point.
fail
Yeah.
on second viewing or something.
Yeah, Beyond would be Is It That Good? But no, we're going to be covering Darkness, which I think I've only watched twice.
So first you made us watch Spock Brain, then Move Along Home, Threshold, These Are the Voyages, Sub Rosa, Star Trek V, and now
Now we have to pick our
you're
worst
inflicting Star Trek
out of
Into
the
Darkness
worst.
on us?
It'll be some sort of capstone episode.
Is it though? That's the question. Is it that bad? And we will talk about it. So it'll be very interesting, I think, because, well, it'll be interesting.
Is it bad? No, it's been a great series.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed touching on this. It's a great new way to look at slices of Star Trek and suffer through. But that's what we're willing to do, listeners,
For our craft.
for you. But Daniel, if someone wanted to talk to you about your fascination with bad Star Trek episodes, where would they find you on the internet?
They can find me on Twitter at OneUpDan, not the. Oh, sorry. They can find me on Twitter at OneUpDan. That's the number 1, not the word. Got distracted. As in, the Vengeance is the number 1 stupidest ship in all of Star Trek.
Okay. And Philip, if someone wanted to talk to you about your Enterprise rewatch season 1 binge fest that you're planning, I know you are. Where would they find you?
I'm a 1 and 2er. Everyone is a different Enterprise person. I'm a 1 and 2er. A proud 1 and 2er. They can find me on Twitter at NC Public Servant, and we can talk all things about the fact that John Harrison is a great movie character.
Harriman. Oh, is it Harriman? I can't even remember anymore.
No, John Harrison is
so memorable.
It turned out to be Khan. Remember, he was.
No, I know. I couldn't remember. I always thought it was Harrison or Harriman.
Harriman is Star Trek.
Is Generations.
Is B captain.
That's the captain of the. Okay.
Harrison is not Khan. Wink, wink. Totally saw through you. Totally saw through you. IMDb. Don't even think about it.
By the way, I'm just doing this real quick. Have you guys seen the latest Doctor Who episode with the spiders? No. Okay. You know how there's not Galron? Yeah. You know how there's not Galron? There is not Trump in this episode.
Oh,
that's funny.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Well, if someone wanted to talk to me about why I made my wife watch Star Trek V and expected her to still like Star Trek, they can find me on Twitter, Twitch, or Instagram under Dr. Sci-Fi, which has been revoked down to Mr. Sci-Fi because of that. No, and no. But she watched RoboCop yesterday, like out of the blue. I come in and I'm like, "Are you watching RoboCop?" And she's like, "Yeah."
Without me?
I thought I'd put it on. I know. I'm like, this is great. So I'm very lucky doctor. I'm Darren Moser.
I'm Philip Gilfus.
I'm Daniel Prue.
Stranded here on City Alpha 3.
Con!